Let's do this.
The Common Surface Savings and Loan in downtown Garage Logic. What street is it on, Rook?
Is that on?
Main.
That's on Main.
On Main?
Yeah.
Brings you Garage Logic podcast number 1543, May 12, 2025. 92 degrees on this day just 3 years ago in 2022, and it was 28 degrees on this day in 1946.
Hail the flashlight king.
And now, from the mayor's office above the boathouse on the east shore of Spoon Lake, it's Garage Logic with Chris Reavers manning Technology Corner, Kenny Olson from the Krabby Coffee Shop, John Haidt in the newsroom, and of course, the Rookie. Here is your flashlight king, fireworks commissioner, and the keeper of common sense, your mayor, Joe Soucheray.
About a week ago, it might have been a week ago today, we had an obit for a fellow named Pat Foley.
Mm-hmm.
And it was an intriguing obit because it just was an odd one. And he appeared, for example, in an adult film. In
Bouncer.
Which he played two parts. He played a cosmonaut and part of a doomsday machine. And we got a kick out of that. And but I said, and Rook, pay attention.
Okay.
I said, man, I feel like I know the guy. Well, I got an email. Hail the Flashlight King.
Hail you.
I appreciate that. I thought there was enthusiasm
For Monday,
there.
Yeah.
Joe, imagine my surprise when during my morning shower, the topic of the show turned to my Uncle Pat's obituary. I've been listening since the late 90s and haven't missed a podcast since that great experiment kicked off. It did kick off a little lackluster. Born in 78, grew up next to Groveland, attended Nativity, and then STA along with my three brothers. I've been an expat for some time now and currently work as a hand surgeon in Maryland. The show has been a little slice of home, keeping me connected all this time. My father, Pete, Pat's younger brother, wrote the obituary. Their father was Bob, my grandfather. They were an Air Force family, and my grandfather, though also a great guy, was of his time. So some of those spicier stories got short shrift when we were younger. I asked my dad to text his twin brother, Dick, who was also in the movie with Pat and also part of the Doomsday Machine. According to Dick, the Doomsday Machine was two asses sticking out of a tire and passing gas.
Love it.
Pat and Dick provided the rear ends. I responded, that may raise more question than it answers.
Joe, the stunt asses, if you will.
Right. Apparently, adult films of the time may have been a bit short on exposition. Pat was a wonderful human being. He was somewhat shy in social situations, perhaps the reason for staying with the phone company all that time. Remember, because I said, geez, after such a great start, why did he settle in with the phone company?
Right.
He was also kind and full of life to the end. Another side effect I've noticed of this family's military upbringing. Love the show. Hope to see you in Anguilla. John Foley. Now, you have to know this family. You have to.
I know different Foley families.
It's not our friend Joe Foley, is it?
No. His dad, no, that wasn't. But I don't know. I don't think it's a related.
No, I think all Foleys are related if you throw in Nativity as the nexus.
Well, yes. Especially if you went to Nativity. I'll have to do some research.
Regarding the fishing opener, hail the Flashlight King.
Hail you.
That's even a little better.
Yeah.
I would like to share my fishing opener tradition. I figure that most of the fisher persons head north on Friday. Saturday, I traveled on I-35 toward North Branch. I scored 2 life jackets, a landing net, a brand-new minnow bucket, and a boat seat cushion, all on the shoulder. I suppose a guy could go up Highway 10 or 169 and complete his own boat. Speaking of which, a few years back, I was returning home from Colorado Springs, traveling east on I-70. I would imagine my fellows here know I-70.
I do very well.
Yes.
Yeah.
It can get pretty breezy along that stretch. Maybe you've seen those videos of semi-trucks getting blown over on the freeway. This day, there was a hellacious crosswind. When traveling the interstate, you see a lot of things, but they don't register until something happens. I noticed a semi-truck heading west hauling 3 white boats. The trailer had spaces for 4. About a half hour later, I observed a state trooper on the westbound shoulder stop behind a white boat. No trailer, just the boat.
Oh.
I laughed as I thought about the truck driver getting to his destination and thinking, I know I had 4 boats when I started. Or the trooper trying to find a tow truck for a boat out in the middle of the interstate. Carry on, your correspondent in Pupasky, Minnesota, Justice. Pupasky, Minnesota.
That's a bummer.
Boat blew off the trailer.
You got to secure those things.
As Kenny says, strap down your crap.
Strap down your stuff. A ray of hope from Howard.
Here's today's ray of hope.
You've likely never considered the song Surfin' Bird to be a mechanism for time travel. On what was an amazingly beautiful day, Saturday, May 10th, just 2 days ago, I was out on my driveway working on my boat. As I was working, I heard the odd refrain of Surfin' Bird, 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 bird is the word, faintly at first and then building to an echoing crescendo. It struck me oddly. This song was randomly coming out of nowhere. Even more random was the source. A 10-year-old boy riding his bike without a care in the world, singing, belting actually, the jangling refrain with his young mom trailing behind, monitoring her young charge. I was dumbstruck. I snapped out of my trance and asked the kid if he wanted to know a fun fact. He said, sure. I told him that the song was written and recorded by a band from Minneapolis and that it was about 60 years old. He said, whoa, that's cool. Thanks for the fun fact, and went back to his lively singing. I listened to him as he rode away and until the music eventually trailed off. It was an instance of Americana. For a moment, it was 1963, and everything was simpler and hopeful. Ba-dum, boom, boom.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Howard Clary's. One more.
Joe, have you heard about the bird?
Yes, I have. Thank you. What's her name? Cheryl. And then finally, Tom Wilson notes this about the Pope and the probability of him being a GLer.
Okay.
You know, we don't know that, but he was writing about, or he was talking about reading a piece about the Pope over the weekend, and it was said in there that he has no problem fixing a broken down truck until it runs. That was in Peru. I would imagine he encountered a lot of broken down trucks.
My prediction is we're going to get him on the show somehow.
Well, and then I was shown a video over the weekend, social media, but it was real. You could recognize the people. The Pope's brother, I don't know which one, is in his house, and the media are there. And you hear the phone ringing and ringing and ringing. And finally, the brother picks it up. It's the Pope. He said, why don't you answer your phone? And he said, I got the media here. And the Pope says, okay, I'll call you back. That's the most real thing I've heard from a Pope in 75 years.
That's
maybe
real.
ever.
Ever.
Yeah.
He should have used the Rickles joke. Frank, can't you see I'm busy here?
Just 2 guys, 2 brothers. That's the way they sound.
Right.
Look, could you call me back later? I'm dealing with the media.
You know, since you became elected Pope, this has really become a pain in the butt here.
You know,
all right?
this is affecting us. Your nonsense.
Or he's counsel for 2 hours already.
What? Well, listen.
So why don't you answer your phone?
Well, first you need to know you're on the air right now.
That's great. It was only a 20-second clip.
Yeah. Why don't you answer your phone?
Boy, if I had a dime for every time I heard that.
Yeah, you are.
I'd be Pope.
You are notorious. Did you see, by the way, the White Sox got into the game? I don't know if it's real or not, but it was very funny. They did the City Connect jerseys, Pope style.
Oh, sweet.
It was very funny. I don't know if it's real or not, but it was circulating on the
idea.
internets over the weekend.
New euphemism for the age we live in.
A new euphemism for this age that we live in now.
Currently.
Today.
Yes.
There was a basketball tournament over the weekend. in Eden Prairie. It was the Eden Prairie edition of a boys basketball showcase featuring some of the best prep high school players from the upper Midwest. It was canceled. There was a large police response as problems began to emerge Saturday afternoon at Eden Prairie High School, which was one of a number of gyms hosting this slate of games from Prep Hoops North annual Battle of the Lakes. Prep Hoops posted an update at 7:25 p.m. confirming that the Eden Prairie games were canceled. It came after multiple reports of fights breaking out within the gym, though this was played down by Eden Prairie High School, which said the cancellation related more to the event being overcrowded. So we don't have feral youth breaking out in fights anymore at high school basketball games. We have an overcrowding situation. See, it's much more genteel, isn't it? There were no fights. We had an overcrowding problem.
Right.
So it's like an airline, 250 seats. They sell 270 tickets. Is that what it is?
That's overcrowded.
Yeah.
The evening's proceedings were canceled before the main event, a much-anticipated clash between a Minnesota super team of the state's best high school players and an AAU internet sensation, the Rod Wave Elite, led by basketball YouTuber Cam Wilder. I don't even know what I'm reading here. I don't know who that is. And whose players include five-star Kentucky commit Jasper Johnson and Jermaine O'Neal Jr., son of former NBAer Jermaine O'Neal. Prep Hoops North rented a space at Eden Prairie High School following our district's normal rental process. Unfortunately, they did not follow our rental agreement, including managing attendee behavior, and capacity exceeded what was allowed by the Eden Prairie Fire Department, Eden Prairie High School said. When we became aware of this situation, we collaborated with the Eden Prairie Police Department to secure the facility and end the event to ensure the safety of all attendees. So what we have here, with several minor scuffles breaking out as officers were dispersing the crowds, there were no large. Let me turn the page here. Gee whiz, that's difficult for me, isn't it? There were no large-scale fights and no injuries, but we did have overcrowding.
What do they define as large-scale? I saw plenty of fighting on social media over the weekend.
You did not see anything like that.
Oh, I didn't.
You saw an overcrowding situation.
Got it. Okay.
And this was all put together by an influencer? Is that what you said early on?
No. I don't
Media
think
or internet sensation, something?
Well, we had one team playing another team that apparently is an internet sensation.
Oh, okay. All right.
But there were no problems, Chris. I want to make sure you understand that.
Okay.
Because we're dealing with the euphemism of the age we live in.
The euphemism of the age we live in.
Overcrowding.
Is this on par with the unhoused or
Right up
peaceful
there.
protests?
Absolutely. The whole George Floyd weekend was due to overcrowding. Well, I had nothing. There was no violence. There was nothing.
What's wrong with you? It was peaceful protesting. It
Right.
was Americans exercising their
It
rights
was
to
absolutely
peacefully
peaceful.
gather
And it was just a simple overcrowding matter.
and throw frozen water bottles at police.
Chris, may I have that email that was sent to you? I would love to tell the listeners the kind of response you're getting from Precision Door. I did not know you needed Precision Door.
Neither did I till Saturday.
What happened?
We try to get her to go up, and she only goes up about a foot, and then. But it will open if I assist it, but I don't really want to keep doing that.
I can fix that.
I can fix it too.
You
Kenny.
pull the latch, you put it up, and then you get a big stick and you prop it up, and that's your new garage door. It's just always open.
He's in the industry.
Always available.
I will say this, though. When I went online to precisiondoormn.com, Joe, I booked my online appointment. Yeah. It could not possibly have been easier.
Well, they serve western Wisconsin, the entire metro. They're the best in the business. They become the go-to garage door guy for GLers. I'm glad you called them. And does it have a phone number on that email that you received? Because I sure as hell can't find my piece of copy for Precision Door.
Just go to the website. It's way easier to do it that
and you
way.
can go online, too, at Precision Door MN. Now, I think what they might discover at your place is, I wonder if those little sensors at the bottom got kicked.
That's what I'm wondering, too, because we got a lot of kids going in and out of that thing.
Well, then I'll just go look at them. But Precision Door, if that's all it is, you tell them who you are, you'll probably get a deal.
Doesn't work for everybody.
It didn't work for me, but it might work for Chris. Precision Door MN, they got you covered too if you need a new door. Models for every budget. PrecisionDoorMN.com. I'd love to also give you the number. Boom. It's in here somewhere, but I'm just burdened
612-263-6985 is the phone number for Precision Door.
And GLers probably already have that in their contacts anyway. Give us a report tomorrow on how it goes.
Will do, sir.
Thank you very much.
The Joe Souchere Show.
I don't know what you're thinking. Shrubs, perennials, rock, sod, patios. Maybe you want a water feature. It doesn't matter what you're thinking. Whatever it is, ProfessionalTurf.com can make it happen for you. Maybe you don't have any wild dreams. That's okay. You just know you need something. Get in touch with ProfessionalTurf.com. They're a certified landscape designer. They're going to work with you, come up with a design for your project. They do that by using digital photography and landscape imaging software so you can see what it looks like before they even start. Get to that website, schedule a free, no cost to you, free in-person landscape design estimate, and check out all the other work they've done at Professional Turf. I'm sure you're going to be excited and impressed with what they can do for you. Professional Turf, they provide superior lawn care, landscape, and irrigation service. And they've been doing it since 1982. Schedule that landscape estimate today at ProfessionalTurf.com.
I tip my hat to Carol Evan Investigates. Reporters A.J. Legault, Kelly Dietz, Gary Knox, just as I tip my hat to Jay Coles of 5 Eyewitness News, Alpha News, American Experiment. There are news gathering outfits in the Twin Cities continuing to do the Lord's work. We mentioned last week, and it was due to Carol Evan, that we learned that in the Department of Human Services we have a housing stabilization services program. And like anything else in this state, it's been fraudulently corrupted. And I was reading today that from Carol Evan, Minnesota is one of the first states to implement a Medicaid-backed program meant to help the elderly and people with disabilities find and maintain housing. Now, let me stop right there. So, are you telling me that prior to the implementation of this new program called Housing Stabilization Services, we had no means in this state to help the elderly and people with disabilities? I find that hard to believe. So I'm going to call this the creation of yet another effort to help the elderly and people with disabilities, the Housing Stabilization Services, which is supposed to provide individuals with support through consultation, moving expenses, transition, and sustaining services. The program is unlicensed. And the Minnesota Department of Human Services, which administers it, admit the agency is struggling due to unforeseen growth to provide necessary oversight. I don't think they're seeing unforeseen growth. They're seeing unforeseen fraud. Housing Stabilization Services has surpassed what initially projected in terms of the number of individuals enrolled. This rapid growth has brought additional challenges to build and implement quality assurance and oversight that matches the unforeseen scale of the program. But now Department of Human Services said it has 40 active current fraud investigations underway.
Wow.
Carol Evans' investigation of the housing program uncovered evidence that billed services did not happen and clients did not receive the help they need. It's a total scam. Year-to-date figures for health stabilization services billing show an explosion in cost. In 2024 alone, the program paid out more than $91 million.
Oh, it's just money. It's just a number.
According to data from the Minnesota Department of Human Services.
What's the number?
More than $248 million in Medicaid reimbursements have been billed by providers since the program went into effect in July of 2020. And we've mentioned this outfit last year. One of the program's top billers has been a St. Paul-based company called Brilliant Minds Services.
Okay.
All right. According to its website, Brilliant Minds says we take great pride in the mission to provide housing for those who are experiencing homelessness, and we endeavor to serve as a catalyst for opportunity to all those who require shelter. Boy, it's just polished gobbledygook, isn't it?
Yep.
And our unwavering commitment to deliver exceptional services and providing unparalleled customer care. It's all it's B as in B,
Rubbish.
S as in S.
Rubbish.
Records show they Brilliant Minds people submitted more than $1.1 million in claims in 2024, but Carol Evan followed that money and had questions. Somebody got a Shark vacuum cleaner. In February of 2024, Rachel Lean, a mother recovering, we did this last week. Rachel Lean was a friend told her, why don't you call this housing stabilization services? And that was recommended they contact Brilliant Minds. And on Feb 25, 2024, text messages show Rachel Lean contacted a man named Aiden with Brilliant Minds, explaining how she had secured housing but needed help with essentials like cleaning supplies and a vacuum. We got you for sure, Aiden said. Days later, Rachel received another text. Hello, my name is Mohammed. I am your direct housing coordinator for Brilliant Minds. The text chain shows Rachel and Mohammed discussed setting up an in-person meeting, but Rachel says it never happened. I'm looking at a picture of the texting. I never met with them. They never did anything, she said. Records show Brilliant Minds billed Medicaid as if that in-person meeting and housing plan did take place, and then continued to bill, claiming they were helping her find the housing. She already had housing. So I think this is much of what we covered last week, but it's truly incredible. These people are lying. They're stealing us blind. So many of them are named Mohammed. It's amazing.
7,000, I know we covered this last week, 7,000 employees at the Department of Human Services.
Mm-hmm.
According to the internet, they serve over 1 million Minnesotans right now.
Mm-hmm.
Which I bring up because my idea is to pull the plug on all 7,000 and start over. But obviously by pulling the plug on those 7,000, you're pulling the plug on the over 1 million that rely on them.
Okay, here's what I'd do.
Give it to me.
I would demand that the 7,000 start working for a change. I suppose that's harsh. They might be doing great things.
I don't think that they won't. I don't think that'll be effective, Joe. I think they need to lose their job. We need to clean house here. We need to start over.
What I was going to do was say, pull the plug on every single nonprofit that comes knocking on your door, and you guys do the work. For God's sakes, you got 7,000 people.
Isn't that essentially what Doge is doing on a federal level?
Yeah, basically, yeah. What are you people doing? There's 7,000 of you, and suddenly it dawns on you that it might be a good thing to do to funnel money to a group claiming to take care of the elderly and get them a new vacuum cleaner or whatever. I didn't even know we were in the business of providing vacuum cleaners for people, but that's great, cleaning supplies. It's all a scam.
So I'm pursuing this, and I discover, and I don't remember this, maybe you do, March 14th of last year, 2024, Star Tribune article, the Department of Human Services is breaking up. What does that mean for Minnesotans? And it's a piece about how they are dividing everything up into 3 entities and changing everything and going to make it more nimble and better, and none of it worked. None of it. So my ideas already happened, and it didn't work.
I want to leave Walls out of it.
Why?
But you just can't help yourself.
But I just can't help myself.
Well, the CEO has to take responsibility for the actions of his company. How is the governorship any different?
The state has never been run more poorly. We have fraud in housing stabilization services. We have fraud in daycare. We have fraud in autism care. We have fraud in feeding children. We have fraud in Medicaid. Everything that this state's involved in is suspect. And this guy has no handle on it. We should have it written down on a Post-it note, Rook, the Department of Human Services name.
Jody Harpstead.
Jody Harpstead. You know, why did she leave so conveniently without any commentary whatsoever?
That's rhetorical, right?
Why did Heather Mueller leave when the food fraud scam was just hitting the fan at full speed? Well, these are people that Walls puts in place and then apparently lets off the hook and then installs somebody else in there. Jody Harpstead. I don't know anything about Jody. She might be crackerjack, but maybe she's not up to the task.
I thought she was the first one to leave, and Heather's there now. Or have I got it backwards?
No, Heather Mueller was the
education
Department of Education head.
Oh, of course, yes.
And then Jody Harpstead was the DHS head that left to be replaced by. Didn't we write that one down too?
No, we didn't. We just Jody.
Yeah, there's an interim director who's the head of it now. We just had her name last week, but we should have written them down. So anyway, it's a bad scene.
Serene Gandhi.
Yeah, Serene Gandhi's in charge now.
Temporary commission.
And best of luck to her. I don't know. I mean, she's admitting they got 40 open fraud investigations. She's not hiding it.
No, you better not anymore.
There is a certain community in town of like-minded souls
that are here for one reason.
They're here for one reason.
Yeah.
For the same reason Earl Weaver told Bill Haller you're here. You're here for one reason, to bleep us. And they're able cleverly to create the idea of a need for more money to solve problems they cleverly identify, only to discover that invariably it's been turning out in each case to be done fraudulently. I would stop. Why the legislature? Well, of course, the legislature is half the Democrats, but I would stop all funding to nonprofits until you invent a way that it's foolproof.
A lot of people are going to suffer for that, though.
Okay, Brilliant Minds comes to you. Okay, Brilliant Minds, we're going to give you the money, but here's what we want in return. And there's a checklist that's a page long. And this has to be provided every week before you get another check.
Well, we need to figure out what's the ratio of frauds to legit. I mean, you can't pull funding from legit, can you?
Well, it doesn't sound like housing stabilization services is legit at all. It's sprung up out of whole cloth with this idea that people need cleaning supplies. Oh, yeah, we didn't think of that. And so far, that's resulted in $248 million payout. How much, what you're wondering is, How much of the $248 million actually helped somebody?
Yeah, thank you.
I think maybe $1 or $2.
Food assistance, healthcare coverage, out-of-home care, child protection. I mean, it's an endless list, and it's got to be doing some people good, right? Medicaid.
If you're a recipient of Housing Stabilization Services help in the state of Minnesota, and you're happy with how it went for you, would you please contact us?
Let us know.
Please email us. I'd be glad to point that out. I'd be more than happy to point that out.
I'm guessing they are not our demo.
No. I was going to say maybe they don't have a radio. You don't need a radio. It's a podcast. Everybody's got a cell phone.
And I'm sure they have a computer.
I have managed. I told you before. I am just a complete sap for some of these neat-looking gadgets I see.
Kill the internet. Kill
Yes.
the internet. We need to kill the internet. It's destroying life in the world.
I have managed to buy
Joe.
the 2 worst radios ever manufactured, both for completely different reasons. And they were under $50. But
And you continually harp at the CP for all the Amazon packages that arrive on a daily basis. You're no better.
So the first radio comes. It's a weather radio. I thought, oh boy, that'll have a weather channel.
Do you crank it? Is it the crank kind?
No, but it has a crank, and it has a siren, which is really fun. That siren's fun. It really gets you. Come on in and eat. I'm blowing the siren.
Does it transmit actual programming?
And then, yes, but with such profound static that no matter what you do, no matter how you raise the antenna, adjust the radio, unlistenable.
They had a better radio on Gilligan's Island.
Absolutely.
That thing went through everything.
Powered by coconut juice.
Right.
WCCO
Exactly
news
like
time.
it's exactly like it. Now the other one I did buy at a store. It was an Ace Hardware store, not the one I normally frequent. It was a different Ace Hardware store.
Okay.
Still one of Fratelloni's at the time.
Okay.
And I should have known when I went in and I said I need a radio. I like to listen to the news in the morning, and I didn't have a radio at the time. This was within the last year. And the guy said, well, yeah, there might be one downstairs.
Here's an alarm clock radio.
Yeah.
So I went down there, and sure enough, it's up on a shelf. It's one. There's just one.
You got dust
And it
all over
had
it.
dust all over it and everything.
Finally, we sold this thing.
Yeah.
So I bought this one, and here's the problem with that one. It's so horribly built that if you reach for the dial, it tips over. It's
Little top heavy, eh?
It's top. It just tips over.
Wow.
And it's tipped over so often now that the features it came with, like a flashlight that unfolds from the back of the radio, that's broken off. That doesn't work
First
anymore.
time you go?
Because that got crushed every time. So you have to hold it with your left hand and then go in with your right hand to adjust the volume. And the volume is horrible. It's all treble. There's no way to adjust. It's like two of the worst radios that ever have been made.
So like Sid's car when you picked when he picked you up.
Just like that. Full treble front left speaker. It's I don't know how I could buy the 2 worst radios ever made.
They don't sound quality.
I can help you. There's an old antique radio store on 38th in South Minneapolis between Bloomington and Cedar. Now, I already see your face. The best radio I have ever owned is a 1938 Zenith that takes a few minutes to warm up.
Sure, the
and
tune's gotta
it
heat
will
up.
pull in radio stations across the country. Wow. I listen to all Twins games on the mighty 790 KFGO out of Fargo, and it's warm and soothing and wonderful.
Wow.
Yeah, just swing over there and buy an old tabletop tube radio.
Mine is just irritating. There's nothing soothing about it. It's horrible. 2 of the worst radios ever manufactured. I didn't know where I was going with that. I was going to tell you about something else. Oh, I know what we wanted to do. Back to the fraud. We have a Ilhan Omar update.
Oh, yes, we
No,
do.
that's the 2 are not necessarily related.
Oh, segue, huh?
Here is your latest Ilhan Omar report on Garage Logic.
Let me set this up. This is James Carville talking about Ilhan Omar.
2 different clips.
2 different clips. He's got such a thick colloquial Southern accent that he sounds like he has a mouthful of gravel. But
And GLers, I can read your minds. Don't turn this off. You want to hear this.
you want to hear Carville talking about our own Ilhan Omar.
Ilhan Omar says that white men are responsible for most of the deaths in the United States. So let me get this straight. 69% of the people, I'm stuck on that number, I don't know, but 69% of the people going to vote are white. Of that, 48.5 are males. So I don't know, my rough math is 33%. Let's go out and piss off 33% of the people that vote, and that's a smart strategy. And the people that agree with her. There are people that actually agree with her. And I think these, honestly, I think these people are more trouble than they're worth.
But you kind of say, hold on,
Now the second one?
You would like the second one. I will cue that up right now.
Lady, why don't you just get out the Democratic Party? Honestly, start your own movement. All right, let's do the simple math. Probably 69%, I don't know, we could call Jim Gerstein or Jeff Garrett. Roughly 69% of the people going to vote in November, maybe more. Let's do 70 for just round math, are going to be white. Of that, 48%, maybe a little more, are going to be male. So that's roughly, let's just call it 33.33% of the entire election. Well, let's just run against them because that's so goddamn smart. All right. So now we're going to have a campaign by the progressive left against white men who vote about a third of everybody that votes in an election. Why don't you, lady, start your own party? And then when it's over, if you want to caucus with the Democrats, fine. We agree with a lot of things that you do, but we don't believe we ought to be running against white men. In fact, we don't think we ought to be running against any gender, any ethnic group, any race, any religion, or anything else. Goddamn, these people are just helpless. They cannot be helped. There's nothing you can do to help them. They don't want to be helped. And if they had any guts, they'd start their own goddamn political party and get out of ours.
I think that's fascinating for a couple of reasons. There's no greater insider than Carville.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Kenny, your mic's off.
No, I was waiting. I think the Democratic Party has passed him by, and they don't give him any credence anymore.
Well, we're going to say the same thing in 2 different ways. He was a Clinton guy, and he can put people into office. And, yeah, he has no time for the progressive left.
Right.
The progressive left, as you point out, they presumably have no time for him.
Right.
In other words, Ilhan Omar won't care that this once powerful figure, if not still a powerful figure in the Democratic Party, said this about her.
Yeah.
That won't bother her.
She has no problem turning on fellow Democrats. She's shown this many, many times through the years.
And she's not there for you or me or her neighbors. She's there with her own agenda. And here's Carville, who's still kind of stuck in the back room with cigar smoke, wondering what in the hell are these people up to. I'm heartened by the fact that he can't stand them. He thinks they're dragging the party down. I think he's right in that regard.
Well, isn't it your theory? He'd be a a Republican by today's standards?
Oh, God, yes.
Yeah.
No, he wouldn't.
So-
Come on, he's still liberal as hell, but he doesn't like that progressive wing.
No, he's liberal as hell, but liberal as hell today. He's not as liberal as Ilhan Omar.
Oh God, no. He's no.
Yeah, or
AOC.
the rest of the so-called, what are they called?
The squad.
The squad. Yes, I got your squad right here.
Where do Bill and Hillary fall, and even for that matter, Obama on the squad and the squad's agenda? What do they say? They've been awfully silent, have they not?
Yeah, I can't believe that Obama was such a manufactured product.
Yeah.
That I don't really even care what he thinks. He's to me, he was one of the great disappointments as president of this country. Had a great chance to do a lot of healing and didn't do a dime's worth. I don't know where they'd stand. But Carville's right. He's looking at the numbers and he's saying, why would you run a national election calling out 33% of the voters?
Yeah.
So true.
That's today's Ilhan Omar update.
Thank you, Mr. Carville.
He's almost impossible to understand.
Are him and Mary still hitched?
I think so. What was her name? Mary Travers?
Mary
No,
Matlin?
that's Peter Paul. and
Mary Matlin.
Mary Matlin. Look up where James Carville is from.
I saw him, ran into him in Las Vegas.
It's Louisiana. No butt, man. I ain't gonna tell you why. You know why it's funny, man? Because it ain't true.
Yeah, that's a Louisiana.
He's from
accent,
Louisiana.
Joe.
There's no way he's not.
It reminded me of, remember when we had that great audio from the LSU football coach when they won the national title? That's what he's, is it Ed Ogeron?
Well, yes. He has to be from a very swampy part of.
He was born in Fort Benning, Georgia.
Oh.
His residence is New Orleans. Resident says
he could
Louisiana.
get a job as an airboat driver in the swamp.
Yeah.
You know, that's.
We're going to take that over here.
Oh, you're over here.
Don't go shrimping.
Oh, he goes.
Right and Caden.
What do you want to do, Chris?
I'd like to hear from our fine friends at Bradshaw and Bryant, Mr. Souchere.
Well, there's your lawyer guy. You know, in GL, you need guys. We got garage door guys, and we got turf guys, and we got Seafoam guys, and Bradshaw and Bryant are your lawyer guys. They're personal injury attorneys, and if you're like me and many other people, you might be a little confused about what you have to do if you're ever injured in an accident. Insurance companies and adjusters are tough to deal with, so you need somebody on your side. Mike Bryant from Bradshaw and Bryant and his team are there to explain your rights, represent you, and help you in a tough time. Mike has been a super lawyer for 6 straight years. He's among Minnesota's top 40 personal injury lawyers, according to Minnesota Law and Politics. That's the straight dope. They hope you're never in an accident, but if you are, call Bradshaw and Bryant at 800-770-7008 or go to minnesotapersonalinjury.com. Your case evaluation, of course, is absolutely free. And Bradshaw and Bryant wants you to not be a part of the problem. Don't text and drive or drive distracted. That's just common sense from Bradshaw and Bryant.
Here's a man who spends hours in hardware stores sifting through the nuts and bolts of life. Joe Souchere.
So my main goal here was to tell you about these 3 Seafoam products that every GLer should have: Bugs Be Gone, the motor engine treatment, and Deep Creep. But I have this pole saw analogy, and I tried it out on John during the break. My pole saw analogy is, I got myself a pole saw a few years ago. Expands really long. You cut down the branches you need to, and then you're walking around the yard, looking up, looking for another branch to cut down. Yeah, and that's how it is with Deep Creep. John said you hit a padlock or something in your garage, John?
Rusty old padlock that was on my fence.
Oh, on your fence.
Yeah.
And then you can't just put it away. You start looking around. Well, maybe these hinges and
spray it on the garage door things. You know, everything.
That's why GLers should always stock in the 3 favorites. Those being the Bugs Be Gone, the engine treatment. And you know what? Numerous cans of Deep Creep. I'm sitting on an email right now I received from a GLer that found another new use for Deep Creep. I'll read that to you later in the week. But boy, those 3 products in Seafoam, give them as a gift. You're going to be loved and appreciated for your effort. You can laugh now, but trust me, you will be thanking us later. Our own local company with a global reach, our favorite, Seafoam.
Here's Mr. John Haidt in his podcast newsroom.
Thank you, Joe. This update is brought to you by North American Banking Company. Sports note, Game 4.
Thank you, Clem.
Yeah, Timberwolves and Warriors tonight. Late start. Should start around 9. We hope anyway, that early. Wolves lead the series 2-1. We're talking earlier. We'll all make it through that one, right?
God, no.
I won't.
Especially on a school night, John. It's tough when it's a school night.
In news, it's the final week of the Minnesota legislature, and not a lot of clarity yet. Biggest thing, of course, no agreement on spending. Lawmakers have to pass a new two-year budget before July 1st to avoid a government shutdown. Minnesota is facing a bleak outlook due mostly to skyrocketing costs of long-term care for people with disabilities and special ed for students. Legislators and Governor Walz trying to pass a budget that heads off a possible multi-billion-dollar deficit in the future. The state's next 2-year budget expected to be about $66 billion. And you'll remember, of course, 2 years ago, the Democratic-led legislature famously burning through an $18 billion surplus.
I hardly remember that.
Really? Oh. I thought I'd remind you. Red flag warnings are in effect across nearly all of Minnesota and much of western Wisconsin today as conditions continue to be primed for fires to easily spread. Under a red flag warning, fires cannot only spread quickly but also grow out of control due to warm temps, gusty winds, and low relative humidity. The entire state under extreme risk for fire danger, according to the Minnesota DNR. There were multiple wildfires in Minnesota yesterday, about 1:15 in the afternoon. The St. Louis County 911 Center receiving a call about a wildfire that spread fast near Highway 44 in Alt Township. Officials said cabins, garages, and other structures caught fire, forcing dozens of residents to evacuate. In Granite Falls, fire officials say more than a dozen agencies called just before 2:30 in the afternoon for a brush fire near Highway 167 in Yellow Medicine County. Well, no injuries were reported in the 146-acre fire. Officials said multiple hunting stands were burned, as well as power poles and several fence posts.
We have a woodpecker that has been on the scene now for about a week, always at the same spot on a utility pole. Boy, that must be rich with bugs in there.
Yeah.
Hey, Chris?
Yes, sir.
Time and temp, please.
Do you know the NFL?
If I get the time and the temp.
Well, I know, but do you know the NFL is studying woodpeckers?
Why?
Because they're wondering
how can we make money off them?
No.
Oh.
Why are their necks ability to, why do they have that ability to sustain that kind of trauma to their heads?
Yeah. Yep.
So there's
a joke.
Yeah.
There's a joke in there.
I know there is, but I didn't go there.
Yeah.
Oh, yikes. I just thought of the joke. 2 fires deemed to be arson at an abandoned WW2? Goodness gracious. At an abandoned World War II ammunition storage facility in Arden Hills that crews battled for hours are now being allowed to burn themselves out, according to officials. The Lake Johanna Fire Department said that the fire is being allowed to burn itself out over the next couple of days. They added there will be periods of smoke and maybe flames during the process. Fire officials do say if people notice that it gets outside the containment area, they should call 911. In a later update, the fire department said that the fires, which were at 2 underground storage bunkers, are being considered arson. The bunkers were built out of creosote-coated heavy timbers and used for ammo storage during World War II. The firefighting efforts were hampered by poor access and no hydrants in the area, which required tankers and engines to shuttle in water, according to officials.
Well, I take it there's no bullets in there.
No.
That has to be the biggest undeveloped tract of land in the Twin Cities.
Yeah.
Where?
It's just huge.
Arden Hills.
Oh.
Off the highway
plant.
there.
Yeah, okay.
About once every 10 years, we get a plan, and nothing ever comes
I remember when it was a functioning plant.
Cool.
Back in World War I.
Well, that was where they were going to put the Viking Stadium, right? Wasn't that
Well,
the
yeah,
site?
that was one of them.
plans,
I'd put a big racetrack in there. blow those people in Arden Hills right out of their britches.
In other words, it's a pit lined with tar that's on fire.
Yeah,
that's going to stink.
A little storage facility.
Oh, well, we got to get Gwen up there. She loves the smell of
Do you mean asphalt?
I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, my wife caught Kenny last week. He said tar.
Yeah.
And she
Well,
said,
I'm saying tar.
Yeah.
And after her family business, decades in the
she's
asphalt.
right.
Well, they were in the tar business.
My father-in-law would disagree with you.
And then you have cement and concrete. Same argument. there.
Right.
Yeah. Yep.
So
Good catch, Mick.
Last week I had my driveway sealed and I called it tar, so that was wrong. I shouldn't have said that.
Well, no,
sealer. You call that sealer.
There is tar.
What, did you fall for some flyby guy night
No, it's
from
a guy
Arkansas
we
that came
use-
through here?
It's a guy we use every 2 to 3 years. He's very good, and it's not a guy, it's a company.
Hey, try Marco Hot Seal. How you doing?
I tell you, there's nothing more irritating, though, than Matthew referring to an SUV as a truck.
I'm guilty of that, too.
Boy, that makes me angry.
Tar is a natural substance produced from organic materials like wood, peat, or coal, while asphalt is derived from petroleum.
Interesting.
I'll be damned.
A sinkhole in St. Paul in the middle of West 7th Street.
Oh, I'm glad you're bringing this story up.
I saw it
John.
yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
Got some good roads over there, huh?
No,
Are we
but
just
but
gonna
I
let her-
hope John has this in his story.
Are we going to let her
John.
go? Let's just leave it. Let her go. Drive around it.
The suspicion is that water underground may have dissolved the sandstone sandwiched between the pavement and a 6-foot sanitary sewer more than 30 feet down. The debris cleanup and rebuild are expected to take months. The hole-in-the-road drama began around 7 o'clock last Thursday when a public works employee driving by spotted the collapsed pavement, which turned out to be an over 35-foot deep void. St. Paul Public... Yeah.
That's
St. Paul
crazy.
Public Works Director Sean Kershaw said, "We know that something began to erode the soft St. Peter sandstone that's below us." He noted that work crews will also have to rebuild the sanitary sewer tunnel and the shaft all the way up to the street. On Friday, to ease congestion, the city opened one lane in each direction between Grand Avenue and Kellogg Boulevard.
Well, you covered it. Maybe I had my question answered. I'm surprised it's going to take months, but apparently there's a lot of digging and repairing to do.
That should be a 24/7 job.
Where is
though.
it in front of? What's it?
Moe's.
Right in front of all these restaurants that are dying
Yeah, Tommy
anyway.
Reed, Moe's,
God almighty.
Casetta.
So let some 2x4s over it and drive over the damn thing. Let's go.
Yeah, just put that big plate.
Yeah.
You know, that big steel plate that they always have.
So John said 35 foot deep, correct?
That's what he said, Chris.
How wide is the hole?
50 feet. I don't know.
You can drive a truck in there.
I don't know.
Well, that's what I'm wondering. If it's 35 feet deep, how did somebody not take the plunge in there?
There's
no traffic in St. Paul.
That's true.
Yeah.
Why don't we take a break here?
Put a big cone in front of it.
Right. We'll be all right.
Cone on
See you
each
next
side.
year.
Drive around it. Come on.
Let's hear from Chris Reavers.
Hashtag it'll melt. Hey, North American Banking Company. Yeah, that's right. Proud sponsors of Johnny Heights Newscast each and every single day, and the official bank here in Garage Logic. And here's the deal. Spring is the perfect time to put your home's equity to work for you. It can be an unexpected expense, or maybe you've got a big project coming up at either the home or the cabin. Well, then why not use that home equity? You know what? A home equity line of credit from North American Banking Company is going to give you flexible access to funds when you need them most. And you can check them out online today. It's nabankco.com to learn more. It's an unexpected expense or something else. Their experts are going to make it easy and help you navigate through that process. And they have 6 fantastic Twin Cities locations to serve you. Roseville, 50th in France, Hastings, Woodbury, Shoreview, and also in Maple Grove. They offer all of the services as the other big national banks. Whether you're looking to buy a home and, like I said, finance that new home renovation project, or maybe get that new car that you've been thinking about because you drove through a pothole in St. Paul and you need a new ride. Well, North American Banking Company is going to be able to help you out. So once again, check them out online today. It's nabankco.com to learn more. It's banking done differently. North American Banking Company, member FDIC, is an equal housing lender. Here's a guy That's looking at a hole in the ground.
Yes.
How about one of these, huh?
Stares back at you.
I just erased something. My make a move went away. I need make a move brought
figure
back
that
to
out.
me.
I'm going to make a move right now and jump right into it. If you're looking for a ray of hope, Minnesota's Freemasons have got it for the last couple of years now here on GL. We've been sharing all the great things Minnesota Freemasons do. They do really big things like donating over $6 million annually to support cancer research, aging studies, and children's communication disorders, and awarding scholarships to dozens of high school students each and every year. There's more than 8,000 Freemasons throughout Minnesota, and they're working together to make the world a better place by focusing on the core values of friendship, personal development, and helping those in need. It's stuff we talk about on GL. Minnesota's Freemasons are also helping mentor the next generation with something really exciting. It's the initiative called the Civility Project. The Civility Project is a series of events throughout Minnesota designed to engage the younger generation and teach them significance, decorum, kindness, civility in today's society. They're actually doing something about it. This project emphasizes values that are more important now than ever. Put down the phones, make genuine eye contact, and learn to walk alongside those who may see the world a little differently. Just another example of Freemasonry at work. The next Civility Project, May 29th at the Duluth Masonic Temple. There'll be also events that I'll mention in Farmington and in Red Wing. If you'd like to learn more about Freemasonry and the Civility Project, please visit mnfreemasons.org. mnfreemasons.org.
He's got in his ears.
Yes, he does.
It's Joe Souchere.
Which one were you looking
live
for?
From Garage Logic.
My make a move
Make a
disappeared.
move. That's what you
Here's
need.
John. Hi.
Thanks, Joe. Investors welcoming the news this morning that President Trump was backing down from some of the tariffs he has imposed on products imported from China. Big gains on Wall Street. After more than a month of escalating trade war, China and the U.S. announced a 90-day cooling off period to give the two sides time to negotiate a longer-term solution. During the pause, the U.S. will impose a 30% duty on goods from China, down from the 145% the president had announced earlier. China will reduce its tariffs on products made in the U.S. to 10% from 125%. Fox Business Channel analyst Charles Gasparino says what's at play here is the stock market's power. He said the president couldn't continue with the tariff plan with the way things were progressing with the stock market and in the U.S. economy. Gasparino later wrote online, Trump raised tariffs on the world. The markets, particularly the bond market, which we need to finance our debt, rebelled. Trump then was forced to back off.
You cannot stop him. He'll just make a move.
There you go.
Joe Souchere.
Where is it on there?
She's on the bottom. Or do you want her at the top?
I like that voice.
I don't see it.
You cannot stop him.
Over there,
He'll
I got
just
it.
make a move.
That's fine.
That's Ben
Joe
Patrick
Souchere.
Johnson.
Hey, you guys remember the school bus fraud story?
Oh, sure.
Never mind, I found it. Thank you. Go ahead, John. I'm sorry.
The president signing an executive order this morning aimed at lowering the cost of prescription drugs, directing his administration to craft a policy that ties U.S. drug prices to what other countries pay. The executive order seeks to institute a policy known as Most Favored Nation, whereby the U.S. government pays prices for drugs that are tied to the prices paid by other countries. Many other countries pay lower prices for medications because their single-payer healthcare systems negotiate for deals. Americans often pay higher sticker prices for drugs than the folks in those countries. The president said pharmaceutical companies' excuse of research and development will not work anymore. On Truth Social, he wrote, campaign contributions can do wonders, but not with me and not with the Republican Party. We're going to do the right thing, something Democrats have fought for many years. The numbers would seem to indicate both parties do well with the pharmaceutical companies. In fact, they contributed more to Republicans than Democrats in the last election cycle, $8.8 million to GOP candidates, $7.2 million to Democratic candidates.
If you are, what is the term Royce doesn't like with overweight?
Morbidly.
If you are morbidly obese and you want to go on Ozempic and your insurance company won't cover it for you, because I guess it's proven to work, and now cardiologists are recommending it to their fat patients. Hi, I'm Kenny. $800 to $1,000 a month. A month.
If we mean without insurance.
Without insurance.
I'd rather be fat.
In What may be the most valuable gift ever extended to the United States from a foreign government, the Trump administration is getting ready to accept a super luxury Boeing 747-8 jumbo jet from the royal family of, and boy, it's either Qatar or Qatar.
I disagree with this. I
It's a
don't
gift.
like it.
It's a gift that's to be available for use by President Trump as the new Air Force One unit for use by President Trump as the new Air Force One unit is built shortly before he leaves office, at which time ownership of the plane would be transferred to the Trump Presidential Library Foundation.
You know, let me tell you something.
Here we go.
Let me tell you something.
Break it down, Bobby Brown.
First of all, I want our president flying around. Well, it's a made in America, I suppose. Boeing made the thing. But here's the problem. I'm sure he loves it because it's full of grotesque
bells and whistles,
grotesquerie,
yeah.
gold. There's probably a statue of Elvis in it, and it's just
a gold hot tub.
Yeah, he has he has no taste whatsoever, zero taste. You ever see the Oval Office lately? You got a lot of gold picture frames and all this BS.
That's classy.
He has no taste, zero. So these mullahs or whatever the hell they are, these kings, they probably said, dial up one of these planes, that sucker will take it, because put a lot of gold in there, put a gold sink.
Wait, are you saying this is some high mileage POS?
Yeah, they're fawning it off on them.
This is like when the newsroom gets rid of a van.
They can't get
downstairs.
Rid of it. Yeah,
I was flying once.
Tires.
I was flying once in a plane, Sun Country, good airline.
Yep.
But it was a plane they just got from Turkey, and it had Turkish writing in it. You couldn't even read the exit. It was X, Y, and Zong or something.
You are the one, Joe, that has warned us when a story comes out that seems unbelievable. Maybe we should, really delve into it and get both sides of the issue. I'm wondering if you've done that.
No, I don't want both sides. I want no plane from Qatar or whatever the hell it is.
Isn't it pronounced Qatar? Because didn't they host an Olympics?
They changed it. Yeah, it used to be Qatar, and now everybody says Qatar.
It isn't even a country. It's a concept.
It's like Andover.
It's Qatar. That's nothing.
Yeah, but 100% of the world's global wealth is right there. I mean, they are rich.
To back up your point, Joe, Trump had previously toured the plane, which is so opulently configured, it's known as a flying palace.
There you are. I'm telling you, it's probably got those velvet robes.
You know what I'm seeing? Have you guys seen the movie Soul Plane?
Oh,
that's the plane
with
I'm
Snoop.
seeing.
Yeah.
Purple.
Everyone's high AF.
Yes.
This just in. You guys, we were talking about the governor's fishing opener, and Terry just sent a photo akin to.
We weren't talking about it. Maybe off here we were.
We talked about the fishing opener.
No, off here. But go ahead. Go ahead. Don't let me stop you.
Akin to him trying to load the rifle. He's got the fishing pole.
I saw that. Yeah.
He's holding on to the opposite.
He's holding on to the end.
I'm just like you, people of Minnesota.
I saw very little coverage, if any, of the governor's success at the opener.
I saw the kids harassing him on the boat. That was pretty funny.
Yeah.
He caught a northern pike. That's all I saw.
Well, that's what he deserves.
I love how you precious call them pikes, northern pikes.
What do you call it?
It's a northern.
Northerns.
Oh.
Is that good eating?
I guess
Ken?
we're not supposed to use the word pike.
The northern pike.
Is it a walleyed pike?
The northern pike is the most delicious freshwater fish one could possibly
Here we go.
It's a tube steak full of bones.
Who's triggering who with this conversation, really?
A new study reveals chimpanzees drum with rhythm while they bang on tree trunks and share similarities with humans.
You're damn right they do.
Especially drummers, in their ability to hold a beat.
Wow.
That was excellent.
Sorry, John. The discovery in one of the closest relatives to modern humans sheds light on the evolutionary building blocks of music. The behavior is believed to be a form of long-distance communication and suggests that chimps employ different sequences depending on the social situation. Researchers who analyzed 11 communities of chimps across 6 populations and 2 subspecies found groups from separate regions of Africa produced different rhythms for the same context, suggesting the mammals independently developed their own method of communication. The study also hints at a long-standing anthropological question. Despite being a common human experience, how and why humans produce music remains unclear. Study comes on the heels of a separate observation of an individual California seal named Ronan that can keep time via rhythmic beats.
The study is asking why humans produce music?
Well, they're hoping something will lead them to discover why humans.
Well, don't
produce
we?
music.
Because it makes you happy? Why is that a puzzle?
Well,
seems like a simple
communication,
question.
Yeah.
Obviously. I mean, if they think this behavior is part communication, isn't music communication?
It can be, of course. Sure, I understand.
Yeah.
Two tennis shoes and a dryer.
Two turntables and a microphone.
Whoa. The mayor quoting the Beastie Boys?
No,
That's back.
That's back.
Oh, that's back,
I
right.
ain't quoting no Beastie Boys.
Oh, come on. You got to fight for your right to party.
I know you have to fight for your right to party.
Deaths in a couple areas of entertainment. Pro wrestling legend. Now, this was after my time. I'm not familiar with this fella, but everybody seems to think it's a big deal. Terry Brunk, better known as Sabu. Do we know
Never
Sabu?
heard of him.
I don't think I've ever heard of Sabu.
Don't know a
Nobody
Sabu.
has. Okay, so it's not just me. Well, Sabu died at the age of 60, and he apparently had ECW and AEW, WWE championships during the course of his career. No cause of death was given. He had taken part just a couple of weeks ago in a retirement match against Joey Janela at Joey Janela's Spring Break 9.
Was he one of these guys who wore the robes like a Qatar guy?
Yes, he had
from
he had
Qatar.
the thing.
Yeah.
I once wrestled Sabu in a sinkhole.
Yeah.
In St. Paul?
In St. Paul, downtown.
Country music star Johnny Rodriguez, a popular Mexican-American singer, best known for chart-topping hits in the 70s, has died. He was 73. Rodriguez was named the most promising male vocalist at the 1972 Academy of Country Music Awards, and his debut album was nominated for Album of the Year in 73. More than a dozen of his albums and singles landed in the top 10. Rodriguez...
I never heard of him. I'm sure he was a monster, right, John?
Well, no, he was a pretty popular country singer in the 70s. Rodriguez later said his career suffered after he began to use drugs and alcohol excessively. And Larry Lee, a founding member of the Ozark Mountain Daredevils who helped write the hit Jackie Blue with the late bandmate Steve Cash, died Saturday. Lee was known for adding Beatlesque and Beach Boy-esque sounds to the band's eclectic mix of country, rock, and pop music. No cause of death was listed. Lee, in recent years, had formed a band called Vinyl Kings with several other well-known musicians from the Nashville area, including Jim Photoglow and Harry Stinson, the drummer in Marty Stewart's Fabulous Superlatives. They released songs on their website. No cause of death was listed.
When did he die?
He was 78.
When did he pass, John?
He died on Saturday. I got the impression it was overnight, Friday.
So he missed Mother's Day.
I listened to Jackie Blue on Saturday.
Ozark Mountain Daredevils are one of my favorite bands, and his stuff was so cool because it was very pop.
That's dope smoking music, John.
Well, I love that band, but
John, thank you.
Okay, sure.
I'm not sure there's a band you don't love.
Well, there's a lot of bands I
we'll
don't.
be back.
I disagree.
Why don't you name one you like, Joe? We'll see where that goes.
Tragically hip.
Yeah, they're fine. Boring as hell, but what are you going to do?
Yeah, pretty generic.
All right. I'm not going to talk. You have to take a break.
Oh, okay.
You cannot stop him. He'll just make a move. Joe Souchere.
Good pipes.
That is a professional.
Good pipes.
Whatever
We've
happened
had, if you're an air traveler, we've had a lot of problems with air traffic control in Newark. And there's been a temptation to put this under the rubric of DEI. Well, they must be hiring so many unqualified people just to fulfill DEI obligations. That isn't the case. Based on a piece I'm reading by Elizabeth Elkind in a Fox News piece, the chairman of the House Aviation Safety Caucus is accusing the Biden administration of helping to fuel the current air traffic control crisis by its choice to fund progressive diversity initiatives instead of modernizing the aging system. Now, that I can get my hands.
Okay.
It's not that they're hiring somebody unqualified to sit up in the tower. It's that they haven't kept the tower in tip-top shape.
Right.
Because they're spending the money to send the guy in the tower to a counseling meeting, whatever those BS things were. Representative Nick Langworthy, Republican, New York, said the administration's marquee bill, the bipartisan infrastructure bill, was among several missed opportunities to fund and revamp the air traffic control system. This was before I came to Congress, but you had just mistaken priorities in all this. This DEI policy, DEI staffing, that all got baked into the cake. Langworthy said they could have taken that money and spent it on real modernization of what is critical infrastructure in this country. We had the longest period of accident-free aviation in the country's history, where we did not have a commercial air crash from the time the crash happened in Buffalo. I remember that one back in 2009 in the winter. A Buffalo a plane went down due to ice on the wings.
Yes. Crashed into
a neighborhood. And then this guy's pointing out just what happened at Reagan International. He said that was avoidable. I don't know that. Now we have a blackout at Newark's Liberty International Airport because of a 90-second outage in the air traffic control screens.
That would scare the hell out of me.
And earlier this year, the military helicopter collided with that passenger plane in Washington. Langworthy clarified that he does not believe DEI policies necessarily directly hit the ATC, nor do I. It's what they spent the money on, he said. There's infrastructure projects, one's in my backyard, where they want to bury and tunnel over our main artery in the town because it's going to reunite a community somehow. I don't even know what he's talking about.
Rondo.
There.
Sounds like a run. Yeah,
94.
Matthew's right. Yep.
Aviation is infrastructure. It's transportation. It should have been spent then. Instead, they did all this social engineering with money and did not focus on what has been a glaring problem for the federal government for many years, modernizing our aviation infrastructure. Part of the bipartisan infrastructure bill allocated $25 billion over 5 years to the FAA specifically for modernization. But lawmakers now believe that was not enough. Republicans' plans for Trump's big, beautiful bill via the budget reconciliation process includes $12 billion for air traffic control modernization specifically. Isn't it what we've talked about, though, on a more local level, where we have kind of elected, we have elected a political class who has been terribly uninterested in preserving what our forefathers built. We have let a lot of things go.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, there's a sinkhole on 7th Street. I don't know that they could have prevented that.
What are you thinking about?
But these people that we've elected, I'll just keep it local, they don't give a bleep about an airport. They don't care about a bridge. They're there for their ideological agenda of
DEI.
DEI.
Yeah.
Well, let's not spend the money on DEI. Let's spend it on making sure that a guy sitting in the tower at Newark doesn't have a blank computer screen.
Right. Jesus, that sounds like white privilege talking right there.
I suppose it is.
That's what that
Let's
is.
make roads great again.
Yeah. During visits with air traffic controllers in his own upstate New York, Langworthy said the message was simple but critical. We need more bodies. We should be promoting this to young people who want to look at a career service in the government, and it comes with a very competitive salary, Langworthy said. But it's a tough job with a lot of hours. And there's always going to be stress involved, but we have to prioritize it and not just take it for granted.
But what's that trauma thing?
What trauma?
If they have a trauma at the airport, those guys get some days off. They get 48 hours off if there's a traumatic event.
Oh. Does that include you?
I would.
You mean like
here.
a crash?
No, if it just said a traumatic
Who
event.
said that?
The FCC or the news outlets say...
Well, FCC would be communications. You mean FAA?
FAA, UCLA, NAACP. I got them all.
All of them.
I got them. NFL.
I mean, they said it, Joe.
They said it. I read it. You ain't going nowhere. Ain't going to Newark.
Nice recovery.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, well.
Yeah.
I'm an airline pilot. That was a good Foster Brooks deal.
Oh, that was wonderful. With Dean Martin.
With Dean Martin, yeah.
Oh, God, that was wonderful.
Foster Brooks was funny for about 30 seconds. And then the bit was just the same thing. Only because they come to... Are you angry at me for saying that?
No, I'm laughing. I'm not defending Foster Brooks. The guy's an airline pilot.
What little book is that?
This is my notebook.
Where he takes
for
notes.
work.
Take notes.
Of quips?
Hey.
No.
Let's give us an example.
What do you got in there?
What did you jot down in the old airport notebook?
Time cards, radios, first class at both checkpoints, shift reports info. The supervisors have got to do proper shift reports.
Only because they come to us.
You want to know what my
way.
notebook
Gotta meet
says,
Naveed.
Joe? I have a notebook.
Yeah.
Mine says, someone asked me, name 2 structures that hold water. I thought, well, damn.
Why did a guy fall into the well?
Why's that?
He didn't see that well.
Wow.
Oh, my God.
You got me.
What
Why
is
did the
going
car
on?
fall in the sinkhole on West 7th?
How many birds does it?
Blow paint.
Is Pat out here?
Yes. He's waiting patiently.
Only because they come to us all the way from Marloth Park in Mpumalanga Province, South Africa, the home of the traveling Lymans. It was on this day.
May 12th.
On this day, just today, on this day, in 1806, James Shields was born in Ireland. You know who he is?
Jimmy. Where is Jimmy?
He would be.
I was going to say, yeah, he was a pitcher for the Royals.
He was a U.S. Senator for 3 different states, Illinois, Minnesota, and Missouri. After he moved to Faribault in 1855, he was one of the first 2 senators selected by the state's legislature. And while in office, he encouraged Irish immigration to Minnesota. Shieldsville in Rice County is named for him.
My brother used to live there.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
He died in 1879. And then I'm not sure if I was in charge of this day in history, I would have the next one in here.
By the way, in Shieldsville, you can go to the bar that's called The Bar.
Okay.
Creative name.
The bar.
It was on this day.
On May 12th.
In 1994, a 400-pound silverback gorilla named Casey escaped his exhibit at the Como Zoo. He caused 45 minutes of havoc before a zookeeper shot him with a tranquilizer gun and returned him to his habitat.
Wasn't that the one that called into the show?
I think so. A while ago?
Said Bronco
Well,
could bring
1994. I don't think it was.
Bronco.
I remember that.
This is, we got to call the
Yeah,
microphone
we got a
department
microphone
again. Golly. This day in sports history.
On May 12th. Who'd the Wild lose to this time?
No, it's a sad one.
Oh, no.
On this day.
On May 12th?
In 1978, Rod Carew said he'll never again sign with the Twins.
That is a sad one.
And on this day.
On May 12th.
In 1982, as part of Calvin's house cleaning, Butch Weiniger and Roger Erickson were traded.
What'd the manager say about that?
I don't know anything about that.
No,
that would have been Ray Miller, maybe 82.
82
I
would have
think
been
I
old.
read
Johnny Billy Gardner.
Billy Gardner.
Yeah, I think he publicly ripped him, if I remember. We can't hear him, by
I
the
know
way.
he doesn't know
Okay.
that.
Well, then-
Thank you, GLers.
Please do us a favor. Smash that like button and subscribe to the Garage Logic YouTube channel. Yes. Yes.
Yes, it is.
How are you, Matthew? Garage Logic has a YouTube channel, and you can watch the show each and every single day starting right around noon. Just follow us along on all of our social media channels and find out more at garagelogic.com, where you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and sign up for that daily logician. That email comes right to your inbox each and every single day, and it includes the most recent episode of the podcast.
All right, party on, guys. I got to fly.
Uh-huh.
So you're
Gotta fly. Rick's a deer.